Rabbit season. Duck season. Rabbit season. Duck season.
I say it's rabbit season. So let's make a rabbit. No, not rabbit fricassee. We're going to be making a rabbit fruit platter. So let's begin. We have a honeydew over here, and we're going to start by making the rabbit's nose. This is a very, very basic carving. We're going to start right about in the middle. And the first thing we're going to do, we're just going to kind of freehand it. We're going to go like this, and we're going to go like that. And what we're doing is we're making the rabbit's mouth. And now we're going to cut this out. Let's go, we're going to go straight up, like so. And then we're going to come right over here. We're just going to follow the line. This is a very, very basic carving. Pretty easy to do, like so. And then we're just going to take some of the pith off. Not pith, the white part of the honeydew off, like so. And we have the rabbit's mouth. Pretty easy. If your melon doesn't sit flat, then you can take your knife and just kind of flatten it a little bit, like so. There's his mouth. The next thing we're going to do, we have a daikon radish, and we're going to do basically 2 rounds. You don't even have to worry about peeling it. And what we're going to do with this is we're basically going to make it a rectangular shape. So these are less than a 1/4 inch thick, as you can see. A little bit thinner, so about this big. Just actually, we're going to square that off a little bit because it looks like it's not perfectly rectangular. And this one we're going to put over here. So we're just going to kind of go like that, so it fits right. We do. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Good. And we're going to take some toothpicks. One. We'll take the other part of the toothpick. We'll just stick it in like so. And we just want to make sure, right now it has buck teeth, so we're going to just go like that. Next thing, we're going to take a grape. So I have a grape. We're going to just cut the bottom part off. And I'm going to take maybe 6 toothpicks. These are going to be for his whiskers. 1. And we're going to go 1, 2. And this is to hold the nose on. So I'm going to put that right over here. I'm going to take the back of, this is the back of the skewer. I'm just going to push this in a little bit so you don't see it so much. Here's his nose. Now let's make his eyes. This is a radish. It's been washed. We're just going to cut 2 rounds. And we'll get 2 more grapes. And we're just going to cut the top off. Actually, so see how this is different colors? I'm going to get a grape that's more red. So we're going to go like 1, 2. And another toothpick. I'm going to push this in a bit so you don't see it. And then we're going to take the other side, do the same thing. And let's actually take 1 more toothpick and put the nose in a little bit better. All right, so that's the first part of our rabbit. The next part, we're going to take a large honeydew. We are going to basically cut 2/3 off. And for his ears, so basically you want this round part over here, like so. And very simply, we're going to, let's see, go like that, and like so. So now the first thing, we got to make it fit onto his head. We're going to kind of just round this part out a little bit. And then we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. We're going to, and once again, we're going to kind of round this out a little bit so it fits onto our melon. And now we have one last thing we got to do. What we're going to do over here is we're just going to kind of come down the middle. It's not exactly in the middle, to the side of the middle a little bit on each, like each cut is a little bit off to the side. Just to give to the kids or juice. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. You can use skewers. I'm actually using chopsticks was I get them at the Chinese restaurant for free. We are going to, I'm actually gonna just make a little hole, some holes over here, so it kind of goes in easy. All right, good. Next, we're gonna give him a little bit of a hat. And for the hat, we're just gonna kind of do a series of V-cuts and go all the way around. I'm just doing these all the way around until I get to the other side. That should be. And then we're gonna, what side do we like? We're gonna take 2 skewers. These are 6-inch skewers that I'm using. Once again, we'll take the back of the skewer and now let's make a base for him. So what we're gonna do, all right, so let's give him a base. And for the base, we're just gonna take a pineapple. We're gonna cut the bottom off and then we're gonna go about halfway. Let's do a couple things. We are going to, so see how this is curved a little bit? So we're going to cut in half this way. And then we're going to cut it down so it'll sit. We're going to do the same thing over here. And once again, we'll get out some skewers, 4 of them, 2 for each side. Put this over here. Actually, how's this gonna sit on here? That'll sit like so. All right. Actually, I'm gonna round this out a little bit on the inside so it sits a little bit better. And once again, push these in. Now let's do the same on this side. So again, we're gonna round that out a little bit so it just sits a little bit better. So we have our piece of pepper, and what we're gonna do is, first we're gonna kind of go right in the middle. Not really in the middle, but okay, close enough. Okay, in the middle. And then we're gonna round this out and bring it down. And we're gonna do the same thing on this side. We're gonna round it out and bring it down. Let's round this out a little bit. Okay, probably not the best bow I've ever done, but it'll work. Let's give him something to hold the bow. So I have a radish, and this is pretty easy. What we're going to do over here is we're going to go one kind of a V, then we're going to go the opposite direction, then we're going to go over here and over here. We're going to take some skewer, right through the center. In the middle. And now let's take all so these are the ends of the chopsticks that I was using before. And we have a rabbit. What do you think? Looks like a rabbit to me. Close enough. So we're going to put him in the middle of our platter. And let's make our fruit platter now. Okay, so let's make our fruit platter. We have a watermelon. We're gonna cut this in half. Now you notice it's nice and green over here and not as green over here. So I'm gonna be using the rind a little bit where I want it to be nice and green. So I'm gonna be cutting it right in half where it's nice and green. And we're gonna cut each one of these in half. Cut this in half. And we're gonna cut. And now, if you look at both of these, you'll notice that this one is clearly a lot higher than this, and that won't work for what we're doing. Obviously, we can't make this one bigger, so we're gonna make this one smaller, shorter, I should say. And we're gonna basically and that's definitely better. So for this, what we're gonna do over here is let's cut the ends off, make life easy. And we're gonna do a line about a little over 1/2 inch. Turn it on its side like that. And we're going to peel. What we're going to do is we're going to follow the white. You notice I'm using a sawing motion. I'm not just pushing down, I'm sawing. That way I control my knife. Now when you get to here, what we're going to do is, once again, we're going to follow the white. Make sure this went through. Once again, follow the white. And we might have company. We do have company. That's Charlie, everyone. Say hi, Charlie. Hi, Charlie. I just got Charlie last week from my rescue. Charlie is part Mancoon. He's, I think he's about 7 years old. So if you notice, we have that. Next thing we're going to do is, this is a channel knife. You can get them on Amazon. They got quite expensive over the past, I guess since the pandemic maybe. They used to be about $5 or $6. Now they're like 15 or 20. So they did get quite expensive. It's a good tool to have. We're making lines on this. The lines don't have to be perfectly even. When you cut it, it's not going to make a difference. You notice that it has grooves in it. Now, when you slice this, the green part has to be down as opposed to up. If I start to slice it like this, the green part's going to break off, and I don't want that. So you're going to lay the green part on the cutting board and do slices. And when you hit the green, try to go a little bit easy because you really don't want to break the green off. You want to get slices as even as you possibly can. You definitely want to make sure that you go through the green. You take your knife, put it underneath, pick the whole thing up, and then you're going to turn it on its side. Now, you'll notice over here, the green's not straight, it's zigzag. So what you want to do to make your platter really look super nice, you want to make sure that the green is like a nice, what they call a strong line. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I just finished the other side, and you'll notice that if you look at the lines, it's like a nice strong green line and a nice strong green line over here. Next, we're going to go with cantaloupe. We're going to cut the ends off. You see the green, so we're going to try to cut right below the green. Same like the watermelon, but we're going below the green instead of the white. Once again, you'll notice I'm using a sawing motion. I'm not just pushing down. That way I can control it. The one thing you don't want to do when you're doing this is you don't want to hack at it. What do I mean by hacking? That's hack. You want to saw, nice control. Take our channel knife, make some lines. They don't have to be perfectly even once again. Once you've completed your lines, we're going to cut this in half. First thing you're going to do is you're going to scoop this out. But anyway, as I was saying, the lines that you take off, if you're doing lots of melons, you can actually make a worm fruit salad, which kids love, because if you look at it, it looks like a little worm. Or you can just throw them in a juicer and make some fruit juice. And freeze them first to make a frozen fruit drink. Once you've scooped, we're going to slice approximately just over about a 1/4 inch thick. Once again, nice and even. So I just take the ends off. They're good for juicing, or once again for the kids. And this is going to be for this side. So we're going to go up like so, and we're going to place it right inside. We'll do the same thing with this one. Take the ends. Let's move this up a little bit so it's even. Good. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a pineapple. We're going to cut the ends off. We're going to peel it. We're going to go right below the eyes. Sawing motion once again. Now, after you peel a pineapple, you always have to wipe down your board because it leaves a lot of garbage on the cutting board, and you really don't want that on your fruit. So wipe down your board pretty well. Wipe your knife. We're going to cut this in half. We're going to do a V-cut to take the core out. Once again, sawing. You don't want to press real hard because you're going to damage this side of the melon. So you want to saw. The core can be juiced if you like juicing. Actually very good for if you have arthritis, it's good for inflammation. Once again, 1/4 inch thick. Nice even slices. Do this one. That's for juicing. want to try to get it somewhat even. Take some grapes. We're going to cut these into smaller bunches. You can use a scissor. I always use a knife just because I'm used to doing it that way. Now when you put the grapes on the platter, let's go with the green on the bottom, I think. The reason why I'm going with the green on the bottom, like you'll notice that like this is a small bunch. The red bunches are bigger, so we're gonna go with the green on the bottom. And we'll put some red on top. Next, fill in with some strawberries. Always make sure you wash your berries. Now, if you're doing this in advance, so you're doing this for an upcoming holiday or something, and obviously you may not have time the day of, so you can actually do all of this the day before, wrap it up, put some wet paper towel, like leave this off of here, put it on right before you serve it. The one thing that you can't do the day before is the berries, because if you wash the berries, they're gonna actually literally just get very, very mushy and not be really great. So you could do the whole fruit platter, cover it with paper towel, wrap it up, stick it in the refrigerator, and right before you serve it, do the berries, and that works perfectly. I do it all the time in catering. I'm a professional caterer, so it works perfectly. Next, so I have some blueberries, some raspberries, and some blackberries. Do a nice strong line of blueberries over here. Let's just do a couple of raspberries and blackberries. We're gonna alternate. You'll see me do this all the time. Put some blueberries in front. A couple raspberries in front maybe. A couple blackberries in front. Now very often, like if you see like Woman's Day magazine or other magazines with cooking, you'll see things with berries on it. If you take the colors of berries and just mix them together, meaning strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries, the color combination just looks beautiful together. And lastly, kiwi, series of V-cuts. Make sure you go at least halfway. That way, even a little more than halfway. That way, it should hopefully go all the way through. Just so we're clear, when I say a V-cut, I mean basically you're just making the letter V. Pretty easy. And I started over here, so you don't see his bow very much, but all right. Anyway, and voila, our first fruit platter is done. Okay, so for our next rabbit, so this is the pineapple that we had before. Basically, we're just gonna cut the top off and use the bottom part. And we're gonna be using this for our base and this for our rabbit. So we're gonna go cut this off, cut the bottom off, I should say. Actually, let's flip this over. So that will sit like that, good. For the base, we're just gonna, actually, you don't even have to do that because the fact of the matter is you're not gonna see it. Once it's on the platter, you're not going to see it. So you can skip that part of it. We'll just use the base and this will be over here. Let's begin with our rabbit. Once again, we are going to start by making the mouth a little bit less than halfway. And once again, we're going to take our knife. So you'll see I went here, here, and then just brought the two together. And then we're going to basically just cut the skin right off. Just take your knife and kind of go underneath what you cut. It should pop out. Same thing over here. And we're just gonna cut a little bit of the green away. And this is probably literally the hardest part about doing this, which is actually quite easy. Which is very, very basic. It's actually not even, so we're gonna just even it a little bit. Alrighty, good. Before we do anything else, these eyes are going to be a little bit different. So you'll notice kind of like right here, we're going to, yep, like so. So you notice that this is right above like this half. And then we're going to do the same thing over here, start the same height. So this is right here. So we'll start at the same height, go about the same distance, of course, and we have two eyes. And what we're going to do, get two grapes. If you have black grapes, it actually gives like a little bit of a better effect, but we only have red grapes. So we're going to be using red grapes. And for this, we're just going to very simply, the grape, we're just going to simply cut it in half. And very simply, we're going to take a toothpick. Actually, let's do two pieces. Same thing on the other side. And now we got to make his nose. So I have a carrot, and I'm going to be using the thicker part of the carrot. And what we're going to do, I've already peeled the carrot. So we're going to cut the end off. A nice big piece, about yay big. And with this, we basically just want one long, thin piece. And that's not very even, so we'll see if we can even it. Like so. That should be all right. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of square this off. So it's kind of even. Doesn't have to be perfectly, or when I say square, rectangular it off, it should be. So what we're going to do is we're making some whiskers out of here. And basically we want to make from here, we want to, it's not so easy to describe. So what I did was I made a cut over here and a cut over here. And so that's going to be the first whisker. And now there's going to be a second whisker, like so, and a third whisker. So that's one side. And then we're going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Basically, I'm going to kind of just go like that. And we're going to take a carrot round. Actually, let's go with the bigger end. Like so. Take some toothpicks. Actually, let's use skewers because the carrot's going to be hard to go through. I'll make sure that you don't get your fingers when you do what I just did. And lastly, let's make. And the last thing we got to do for this, or not the last thing, next to last thing, we're going to go back to our daikon. We're going to, once again, nice thin round. This is a little bit smaller than the last one. So what we're going to do, we're going to, it's probably longest this way. So we're going to go like that, go like that. The bottom could be a little round. Top has to fit in there, like so. And then we're just actually, for this one, we're just going to kind of go like that. Still a little bit too big. Yeah, that's pretty good. 2 toothpicks. One. We'll mark it. Take a skewer. Make 2 holes. One toothpick in the other. Like so. And now, the only thing we have to do are some ears. These ears are going to be a little bit different than the last ones. Here's the honeydew that I had before. And basically, just once again, gonna cut off 1/3. With some seeds in here, I'm just gonna take them out. And from this one, I'm gonna try to get 2 ears. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna, first thing, cut this in half. Then I'm gonna, if you see how this sits, it's like very high over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna cut some of the meat out. And once again, this is all edible, good for juicing, good for kids. Same thing with this one. For this, we're just very simply, we're gonna round out this side a little bit and this side, and we're gonna go like that. So like so. Now you'll see that's very thin over here and very fat over here. So I'm gonna go like that. Now, so like that. Let's do exactly what we did before. We're just going to go down the middle, not down the middle, to the side of the middle. Believe it or not, this is a very basic carving that you could do with your kids very easily. We're going to do the same thing on this side. We're basically just going to roughly the same thickness as this one. Once again, it's thin over here, fatter over here, so let's kind of even it a bit. Once again, this is going to go over here. So we want to be basically the same height because they are his ears. Round it off a little bit. Good. Let's get some skewers. 1, make them a little bit bigger. 2. 3. So see how this is all messed up? So it actually has to be cut nicely. So it goes in there nice. So we're gonna mark this. 1, 2, and punch a hole, another hole. We'll do the same thing on this side. And we have our rabbit. And now let's have our chopsticks once again. Put them in a base. Can you see back there? No, you can't. So what I'm doing is I'm sticking our chopsticks in the base. Let's drop this guy on top. And as I said, it's rabbit season. I'm not even going to bother doing anything with this. You could do another bow tie, but in the last platter you didn't even see it, so I'm not even going to bother with that stuff. Now, do you see how over here it doesn't fit quite right? So I am going to just cut a little bit of that away. Better. Okay. So we have our rabbit. Now I've done 1/4 melon exactly the way we did before. So most of my fruit platters are always symmetrical, meaning if you were to divide it in half, one side is an exact mirror image. This platter is going to be different in that it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be symmetrical at all. It's just to get a different effect. So we're going to put this down like so. Okay, so here I have a honeydew. We're going to cut the bottom off, the top off. This melon is absolutely huge. Sewing motion. I actually take about a good solid 1/4 inch of meat off, because what happens is, even though you don't really see it, the part closest to the skin is actually very woody. So I generally go a 1/4 inch below the skin to get that woody part off. You'll see there's like a white line here. Trim that. That's that woody part that I was talking about. It's not enough that your platter looks great, it also has to taste great. So you want to try to choose out right melons. In some of my other videos I talk about how to choose out right melons, and you want to make sure that you get all the woody part of the skin off. It's very important. That's why we take the core out of the pineapple. You basically want to serve delicious fruit. Anyway, we're going to cut this in half. Actually, let's do lines on it first. We're going to do lines the same way that we've done with all the other melons. They don't have to be perfectly even, it's fine. So I made my lines, I scooped out the seeds, and very often I use a whole half of watermelon, but this is really huge. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to cut it in half, like so. This, I'm just going to cut that off so it's nice and even. Same thing over here, basically so it sits flat. This is good for juicing. And 1/4 inch thick, hopefully relatively straight. Take the ends off. So now that it's cut in half, we're gonna go like this. Take a knife. Same thing on this side. And like so. Good. I'm actually gonna switch this around. Like so. Good. And now I'm gonna do the same thing with a cantaloupe, where I'm gonna peel it, I'm gonna put the lines on it, and I'm going to scoop it. All right, next. Get a 1/4 inch thick. Take the ends off. You'll notice when I cut, my knife is up against my fingers. That way I don't cut myself. I can also get relatively equal thickness slices. Let's again take the ends off. Now we're going to do a pineapple. So mind you, when I do a fruit platter, 99.5% of the time, I don't have a preconceived notion of how it's going to turn out. Meaning, like I basically work with whatever I have depending on the size of the fruit Sometimes melons are bigger, sometimes they're smaller, and it's just how they fit on a platter. As long as they're alternating, like you'll see green, red, orange, green, orange. As long as you're alternating colors, it doesn't matter what order you go in. It doesn't have to be the exact same when you're doing a platter, just really whatever fits. And that's the single most important thing. As long as you're alternating colors, the colors of fruit are just so beautiful together. As long as you're alternating, you're good. Fill in with your berries and whatever garnish you're gonna do, and your platter's probably gonna be beautiful. Get all the garbage off your board. Cut the pineapple in half, peel out the core. This one, there's not a lot of space on the platter at this point. I'm gonna actually divide this in half, spread it out. This one's gonna go over here, and this one's gonna go over here. I have some bunches of grapes, just like I did last time. There's more space on this side, so I'm gonna put more over here. And now we're gonna fill in with some strawberries. So let's put some, I'm gonna do some strawberries over here. Do maybe a line of strawberries over here. Let's get rid of that grape. Strawberries in the middle. Also never put rotten strawberries on your platter. Let's fill in the bottom. I want a lot of rotten strawberries, but what are you gonna do? It's life. All right. Next, pick some blueberries. Do some blueberries over here. And some blueberries over here. And a couple blueberries over here. And lastly, we'll fill in spots over here and over here with some blueberries. And now let's go with some raspberries and blackberries. Very often I alternate. A couple of raspberries and blackberries in the front. That's good. Okay, once again, let's do a kiwi. Let's put one over here maybe, and one over here. And the last thing we're gonna do is I have a small mango, and we're gonna do some mango mums. There's a big pit inside here. So what we just did is we just cut a part of it off. And to make a mum, you're just gonna go several straight lines down, and then same. You don't want to go through the skin, of course. You just go like that. And you have a mango mum. Same thing on this one. This one didn't come out great, meaning this is a little too deep, but this one over here, maybe. And this one over here. And our fruit platter's done. Voila. Okay, for our third platter, this is a cantaloupe, and I think we're gonna skip the rabbits theme for this one and just do something a little bit different. We're gonna do a series of V cuts. You do want to make sure that you go all the way through the melon, that way it will come apart. All right. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna scoop this out, both halves. So next thing we're gonna do, I have a lemon. It's gonna sit right like that. If you notice, this like drops down all the way, and I don't want that. So I just have like some melon scraps. You could use a piece of paper towel. You could use some tin foil, whatever you want. I'm just gonna put something in there to kind of lift it up. And actually, before I do anything, let's just cut this so it sits flat. And the next thing we're gonna do is I have two grapes over here. One. Actually, that's probably a little too big. Let's try it again. Two. make a little nose, or a beak, I should say, of a carrot. So I have half a carrot that's relatively thick. I'm going to, like this. So I have that. And what I'm going to do is it's actually way too thick. So we're going to trim this down so it's thinner. Actually, before I do that, let's make its mouth. So I'm going to go like that, like so. And then I'm going to make this a little bit thinner. The reason why I cut the mouth out first is because it's easier to cut when it's fatter. Like so. And now now it's very thick over here, so I'm going to try to trim that a little bit. All right, good. And now, so this has to go right here, like so. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a knife, all these scraps. So this one's a little bit wider, so I'm putting it over here so you can clearly see the beak. And let's get some chopsticks. Put 2 chopsticks there. And we should have an egg with a chick inside of it. All right. Let's actually, before we do this, just where we're going to see the beak, I'm going to make it a little bit wider. That way you can clearly, or we're supposed to see the chicken. And it's not flat. So what we're going to do, which came first, the chicken or the egg? And so we have a chick inside an egg. What do you think? So this is a yellow dragon fruit, and we're just going to slice this. Generally, I find the yellow ones sweeter than the red ones. I can tell you why, but just they're, generally speaking, I always find them to be sweeter. 1/4 inch thick. And now we're going to that out. The peel of kiwi. Slice. And we're going to put 1 piece of kiwi in between each dragon fruit. Like so. So I have some grapes. I'm going to do just a few grapes on this side, not a lot, and more grapes on this side, like a nice big bunch of grapes. So see how this doesn't look very nice? So we're going to put that on the bottom just for support, if you will. And then we're going to take like a nicer bunch and fill it in. When you make fruit platters, occasionally there's going to be flaws in it. As long as you can hide the flaws, it doesn't matter. I have this really huge dragon fruit. See, like this black part, we're going to cut this off. Now we're going to do a series of V cuts, but these we're going to make fairly long, longer and thinner. That didn't work very well. It happened because I didn't go all the way through. But that's usable. All we got to do, we got to fix over here, fix over here, fix over here. And now I want to sit like that. So we're just going to kind of actually, so this one and this one doesn't look very well. So actually we want to put it like that, put it on the bottom so you don't see that. So let's, 1 more cut. Good. Actually. Alrighty, so I have an orange over here, cut it in half. This we're going to do relatively thin slices. We're gonna take the ends off, and we're gonna fan this like we do the other fruit. We'll make a border over here. Do the same thing with this one. Put out half a pineapple. Oh, there it is. Had half a pineapple from before, so we'll use this up. Take the core. Now there's a couple eyes in there. We're gonna just trim that. 1/4 inch thick. Next, we're gonna take some strawberries, cut them in half, and go like that. Actually, start with the larger ones in back. And we're gonna take some more strawberries and fill in over here. Now you notice that I'm actually putting the smaller strawberries on the bottom and the larger strawberries on top. And you always put the reddest side of the strawberry face up, so it looks nice and red on your platter, like so. And so I'm not going to use raspberries over here because this is red and I don't want the red raspberries right next to the red strawberries. I'm just going to use all blackberries. Let's maybe put some blueberries in with the strawberries. They have another color. So the last thing I did was I put some blueberries right over here, and that's basically it. So last platter is done. So I guess it is rabbit season. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your continued support. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you again, be well, and take care. Bye-bye.